Okay, I'm Tara Kilgus. This is ceremony 5.6, the baby naming ceremony. Good afternoon, everyone. We're about to get started, so please take your seats now if you could. Thank you. Welcome, friends and family, to a very happy occasion for the Sterlings and the Browns. Today we have gathered to formally welcome their newest addition, young Riley Jacob. My name is Tara, and I'm a registered marriage celebrant here in Queensland. I have the very happy duty of hosting ceremonies that mark life's most important moments. And what could be more important than the birth of a much longed-for baby? Calvin and Susie, after many long years of hoping and praying, were blessed this past February the 14th with the birth of a strong and healthy baby boy, weighing in at exactly 8 pounds. Susie gave birth after a very long labor in the Redcliffe Hospital, and many of you here today visited Susie in room 225 as she spent 3 days resting and recovering after the birth. Calvin, being the gentleman that he is, made sure to mark the auspicious date with a dozen long-stem roses for his wife. He had the florist add a special 13th rose to the bunch as a nod to his newborn baby boy. And since that day in February, Calvin and Susie have been wrapped in a bubble made of equal parts exhaustion and joy. It's a state that many new parents find themselves in, and I often wonder if new parents ever fully recover from this state. One thing is certain, the joy that a child brings to a family doesn't ever seem to wear off. And as the child grows, their parents experience pure delight over and over again. I will now make mention of the extended family that surrounds baby Riley and his parents. Bob and Esme Sterling, Calvin's parents and Riley's grandparents. Their daughter Justine and her husband Mark are aunt and uncle to baby Riley. And their 4 boys, Kale, Jamin, Josh and Tom, are delighted that this new little cousin turned out to be another boy for the team. Janelle and Morris Brown are Susie's folks. Their children aside from Susie are Mark and his partner Tamara, with their 2 girls, Angelica and Isla Jane. Sam and his partner Tom with their daughter Talia. Riley joins a troop of cousins who are all very excited to kiss and cuddle their newest addition. Speaking of cousins, Angelica, the oldest of Riley's cousins, will now come forward to present a poem written by Helen Steiner Ross called A Wee Bit of Heaven. Pretending. Thank you, Angelica. That was beautiful. At this point in the ceremony, I'd like to ask Calvin and Susie to join me up at the front. Bring your little bundle of joy up here with you if you don't mind. Calvin, as the father of the baby, I'm going to ask you to repeat these vows after me. I, Calvin James Sterling.
I, Calvin James Sterling.
Promise this day.
Promise this day.
To provide you, my son.
To provide you, my son.
With all the things you require.
With all the things you require.
For a full and happy life.
For a full and happy life.
I commit to protecting you.
I commit to protecting you.
Providing for you.
Providing for you.
And teaching you to be a strong and gentle grown-up man.
And teaching you to be a strong and gentle grown-up man.
Thank you, Calvin. If you could now pass baby Riley to his mother, Susie. Your turn. Susie, are you ready? I, Susanna Louise Brown.
I, Susanna Louise Brown.
Promise to you this day.
Promise to you this day.
To encourage your unique spirit.
To encourage your unique spirit.
And guide you with both patience and playfulness.
And guide you with both patience and playfulness.
I vow to care for you always.
I vow to care for you always.
And raise you to be kind-hearted.
And raise you to be kind-hearted.
Thoughtful and brave.
Thoughtful and brave.
Thank you, Calvin and Susie. Those vows were beautiful. Now I will ask Uncle Sam and Uncle Tom to join us up here at the front. Now, Susie, please pass baby Riley to your brother. Sam and Tom, Calvin and Susie have chosen you to be the guardians of their precious child in the event that any misfortune should ever befall them. This is an honor of the greatest proportion, gentlemen. Do you accept this role? Do you commit to making a special effort for young Riley? Even if his parents are always able to provide for his care, if you do, please into the microphone say, "I do."
I do.
I do.
Wonderful. All right, folks, now it's time for a little sand ceremony with Riley's parents and his newly appointed guardians. If you could just pass the baby to Nana. Thank you. Now, for those who haven't seen a sand ceremony before, the sand ceremony reminds us that as a child grows, he is molded and guided by the people in his life. Right now, young Riley is very much like this empty glass vessel. As Riley grows, the guidance and support of his community and the role models he looks to as examples and the diversity of his experience in life will fill him up in the same way we will fill this jar with colored sands. Now, each one of these.
Thank you.
Now, you can each pour your sand in the jar and be mindful of your wishes for the future of this child as you do so. Gorgeous, great layer. Thank you very much. And you, Dad? Last but not least, most important, Mama? Thank you. All right, you can set your empty jars down if you'd like to. Baby Riley is sure to become a multi-layered adult, just like the sand in this jar. It's the responsibility of all of us who love him, who have gathered here today, to contribute to the richness of Riley's experience, in the same way that Riley's parents and his guardians have contributed their little portion of colored sand into this jar. Thanks everybody for helping. You can return to your seats now. Now we get to the focal point of today's ceremony, and that is to formally introduce this child by the name his parents have chosen for him. Calvin and Susie have named this child Riley Jacob. The name Riley is of Irish origin. Riley means courageous, and certainly courage is a quality that serves a child well throughout their life. Riley's middle name Jacob was the name of Susie's great-grandfather, who was the first in the family to travel to Australia, seeking adventure and opportunity back in the early 1800s. It was a different world then, and Jacob himself was extremely courageous to leave the life he knew in Ireland for a wild and unknown new country in Australia. He built his home here and raised his family, and today, those descendants number over 100 people. What a gift Riley's great-great-grandfather gave to his family when he settled here in Queensland. Jacob's memory will live on in the features of this little boy, Riley Jacob, for he shares that same red hair and blue eyes that made his great-grandfather stand out in a crowd. It's a very thoughtful and well-chosen name that Susie and Calvin have chosen for their boy. Susie, if you could bring the baby up one more time and we'll do the formal introduction. I now formally introduce this baby to those that have gathered here today as Riley Jacob Sterling. You can clap if you like. Thank you everyone for coming along today. Susie has asked me to announce that afternoon tea will be served immediately following the closing of this ceremony on the back veranda. There will be a tree planting in remembrance of this special day, and Calvin and Susie would like all the cousins to meet them in the backyard to help them dig the hole and plant the new tree. In conclusion, I'd like to congratulate you all on the addition of this beautiful baby to your family. Calvin and Susie, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this very happy occasion. I wish your little family nothing but happiness in the future. Baby Riley is so loved by so many already. May he grow up to be as courageous as his great-grandfather was, and may he always be surrounded in the love that surrounds him today. Thanks, everyone.